Okay, there's not much left to be done. The last thing is we just need to sort our mean values now, and then we get the most sensitive, the most essential genes for breast cancer. And then if we do the same for myeloid cancer, then for myeloid cancer, then we can compare. And sorting values in pandas is very easy. Again, remember this reception metaphor. The data frame is just a reception. You go there and you ask it to do something more complicated, and it does that for you. And the command here is relatively easy to understand. Sort underscore values. And then you tell it, normally you tell it the column that you want to be sorted at. So for example, column gene effect would be one. You can ascending means it's the default. That means you start with the lowest value and you go up to the highest value. You can turn it around by saying ascending is false, for example. If you sort on string values, it will sort alphabetical, and you can do more complicated things like sorting on two different columns at this in parallel. So there's a notebook again as usual, so you can play around with this. But for our task here, we just need to know the very standard sort values, and then we can use the head 10 method here to just get the first 10 of entries of that. And that's the question we had. What are the most essential genes in the cancer? So let's just have a quick look again at this. We went through this. We load the data. We filter on the breast cancer genes, on the breast cancer cell lines, sorry. Then we are taking the mean, so we have to just get the numerical values. We're taking the mean now, so this is the breast gene means, and let's now just demonstrate the sort value quickly here. So if we just look at that, there's a row of the genes with the mean value across all the breast cancer cell lines. So if I say just simply sort values, and here I just have one column. This is the index, and this is our one's first column, so I don't actually need to name that column. And I could just, I get to my answer, so I sort this. And if I say dot head 10, so I can chain these commands, so I can say dot sort values and then chain another head at the same time, so it does that automatically together. This is a very elegant way of combining different things, different steps in one go. But I get the first 10, and that was what the answer what we're looking for. So here this is done the same thing, but with more fancy printout, so you get this really nice list with the values shown. But this is basically the answer what we want. And we have here ascending equals true, but that's not really necessary because ascending is the default anyway. So great, we've gotten to where we wanted. So let's have a look at the results. So here, just to remember, filter the data, calculate the statistics, sort and rank. And then we get, in this way, we can get quite easily the top 10 genes that breast cancer depends upon and the top 10 genes that myeloid cancer depends upon. What stands out is the gene RAN, which is a nuclear import-export factor. It's quite interesting. I wasn't actually aware of that, but that seems to be by quite a bit the most essential gene in both cancers. And it will be interesting to look at other cancers to see how that looks like. There's quite a lot of similar things. So PLK1 is a mitotic kinase, for example. But one thing that's more interesting actually is the differences. So breast cancer seems to depend more on splicing factors. So these here are all splicing genes, whereas myeloid cancer depends on ribosomal genes. So these are ribosome biogenesis genes. So very interesting. I had no idea that that's the case, and the biology behind it could be quite interesting. So if you want to target breast cancer, maybe the spliceosome is somewhere to look at, whereas the ribosome is definitely the guy for myeloid cancer. So I hope this was, this gave you a first glimpse at pandas. Again, take small steps. I'm just showing you what's possible here. And I've tried to give you an interesting question and to answer. Pandas you can get productive very, very quickly. On the other hand, it takes time to practice and to get familiar with. So it is really like learning how to drive a car. in the beginning everything seems awkward and you're struggling, but after a few months of doing this stuff, you get good at it and it becomes second nature. Um, there, with this data set, there's a lot of different questions to explore, and one of the final projects will be exploring this in much more further depth. So then you have a few months to work on this, and I think, yeah, I'm still to this day, we're playing around a lot in the lab with this data as well. But for now, I will leave you with this. Next week, we are going to continue on pandas, and we are actually going to do something even more fancy. We're going to start asking about linear regression and getting into statistics a little bit more, and then move towards how do we visualize this data? Because lists and tables are nice, but what we really want is nice graphs, and that's then the next step that will really be the finalize your data science skills to give you the power of producing very nice visualizations of your data. Just to go through what we learned today, we learned basically about packaging, importing packages, and the first real open source package we are using is pandas. You learned a little bit about classes and object-oriented programming, just so that you get an idea what these objects are, what is a data frame, what are the methods and the attributes. And then we did some basic steps with pandas that gives you an idea of the power of this library to ask an interesting question in cancer biology. Now, you can go and there's quite a lot of practice in the notebooks as usual, and also you do the data camp course on pandas, which will guide you through this step by step again. And this is really just the beginning. And then there is a lot of further courses. Pandas is such a popular library. There's a lot online, but I would recommend you start with a data camp course. This is a great book as well if you want to really do this for a living and you want to become really good. There's a pandas workout book which has lots of different data types and different specific skills you can practice. Pandas is a huge universe of use different tools and tricks to do this. And we will not be leaving pandas yet, so we'll do quite a bit more with pandas. But for today, I think we've done enough, and well done for following through this, and I look forward to seeing you in the labs.